All right, let's get right into it. Anthropic just released a new feature for its AI model, Claude, that, well, it really might change the entire game. It's called Skills, and today we're going to do a deep dive into what they are, why they're such a massive deal, and how they could totally reshape the way we all use AI.
You know, I couldn't have put it better myself. This quote from a Reddit user just perfectly nails the feeling here. Forget about having to tediously prompt and re-explain the same tasks over and over. We're talking about the ability to, instantly upload a new capability right into the AI's brain, making it available whenever you need it.
So let's just ask that question directly. What if you could take your own unique workflows or your company's very specific brand guidelines or even just your personal coding style and just hand it over to Claude, and from that moment on, it just gets it. It knows how to do the thing every single time without you having to repeat yourself. That right there is the promise of Skills. So what are we really talking about here? Let's peel back the layers and look at the official definition from Anthropic. We need to see the mechanics behind what makes this new feature tick.
And here it is. At their core, Skills are basically pre-packaged instruction manuals. They're these little folders that contain everything Claude needs, text instructions, code scripts, reference docs, to completely master a very specific, repeatable task. You can think of them as these shareable, reusable little packets of expertise.
Now, the way this all works is, honestly, it's fascinating. It uses a concept called progressive disclosure. So when you give Claude a task, it doesn't just jam every single skill you've ever given it into its memory. That'd be super slow and clunky. Instead, it does a quick scan, it figures out only the one that's relevant, and it loads just what it needs for that job. This whole process keeps things incredibly fast, and more importantly, it saves that precious context window for your actual prompt.
Now, skills come in a couple of flavors. You've got the ones Anthropic gives you right out of the box for common stuff, but the real power, and you can see it right here, is in the custom skills. This is where you or your company can build workflows for literally anything. Applying brand styles, using specific email templates, creating tasks in Jira, you name it.
Okay, so right about now, a lot of you are probably thinking, wait a second, don't we already have things like projects and custom instructions? How is this any different? And that is an absolutely crucial question. So let's break down exactly where skills fit into the puzzle.
This table really lays it all out perfectly. Just look at the purpose and activation columns. Projects and custom instructions? They provide static, always-on background info. They're always there. Skills, on the other hand, are for specialized procedures that get activated dynamically, only when you actually need them. And that's also what makes them different from something like MCP, which connects to outside services. Skills are about teaching Claude how to do something, not just what to know in the background.
Okay, so we've covered what they are and how they're different. But the real question is, why does this matter? Why are tech experts like Simon Willison calling this a potential game changer, maybe even bigger than the big AI trends from last year?
Well, the first big reason is token efficiency. A huge problem with other systems is that connecting to an external tool can eat up tens of thousands of tokens from your context window. I mean, look at this chart. That leaves almost no room for what you actually want to do. A skill, though, its initial footprint is tiny. We're talking just a few dozen tokens for its description. The full instructions only get loaded when it's used, which makes it unbelievably efficient.
And here's the part that might just blow your mind. The secret sauce behind this incredibly powerful, super efficient system is that skills are, at their core, just simple markdown text files. That's it. No complicated protocols, no proprietary formats, just text.
Simon Willison absolutely hits the nail on the head with this. That incredible simplicity is the feature's greatest strength. Instead of some rigid, complex system, it just leans into what large language models do best, understanding and following instructions from plain old text. That's what makes them so flexible and so easy for anyone to create.
Let's look at a real-world example they released. This Slack GIF creator skill. See, this isn't just a simple text prompt. The folder has a markdown file with the how-to, sure, but it also has a Python script to actually build the GIF and, this part is key, a validation function. So the AI uses the script, then it runs the validation code to check if the file is small enough for Slack. And if it's not, it can automatically try again. It's a whole self-contained workflow.
So this combination of simplicity and power, it leads to some pretty wild future possibilities. We're not just talking about small workflow tweaks here. We could be looking at a genuine explosion of new, user-created AI abilities.
This is where Simon Willison argues that this completely reframes tools like Claude Code. It stops being just a coding tool. When you can teach it any procedure that you can write down, it becomes something much bigger, a general agent for automating your computer. Basically, anything you can do on a command line, you can now package up into a skill and automate.
Just let this idea sink in for a moment. Imagine building something like a data journalism agent. You just create a folder with a few simple skills. One explains where to find census data, another teaches it how to load that data, and maybe a more abstract one written by an expert reporter on how to spot compelling stories in a spreadsheet. And just like that, with nothing more than a simple folder of text files, you've built a highly specialized AI agent.
And that all leads us to this really powerful prediction. Because skills are so ridiculously easy to create and share, we could be standing on the verge of a Cambrian explosion of AI abilities. A massive, user-driven ecosystem of new capabilities that could honestly dwarf everything that's come before it.
So what's the big takeaway here? This technology puts an incredible amount of power directly into our hands, into the hands of users. It really democratizes the ability to extend and specialize AI. Which leaves us with one last, and I think, very exciting question to think about. What's the first, tedious, repeatable task in your own life that you would automate? What's the very first skill that you would build?